Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the National Anthem of Australia.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I now present to you the Deputy Chancellor of Monash University, Dr. Christine Nixon, who will open this graduation ceremony.
Thank you. Graduands and guests, our Honorary Graduand and guest speaker, Mrs. Jean Pratt. President and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Margaret Gardner, Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Major Campuses and Student Engagement, Professor David Kobolov, Vice Provost, Graduate Education, Professor Zlatko Skrbis, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Ray Francis, distinguished visitors, members of the faculty, it is my pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of the Council of Monash University to this 1018th graduation ceremony of Monash University, which is being performed on country for which the Kulin nations have been the traditional owners and custodians for many centuries. The university acknowledges their culture and we pay our respects to elders past and those who might be present. I now call upon the President and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Margaret Gardner, to address this Assembly.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, members of the Monash University Council, our Honorary Graduand and guest speaker, Mrs. Jean Pratt, colleagues, guests, and most particularly graduands. Today is one of celebration for you, the graduands, and to everyone graduating, I offer on behalf of the University my sincere congratulations. The ceremony is formal. The rituals drawing on centuries of practice in graduations, including the particular elements that are special to Monash. Formality doesn't signal lack of enjoyment or passion. It serves to mark an occasion that joins each graduating student to the many who came before and those who will follow you. The effort that all of you, the graduands, have made, in many cases, of course, with the support of your families and friends, all those efforts deserve recognition. They deserve to be treated with a certain gravity and seriousness. And so today serves as that acknowledgement that you join a line of graduates that date back not just to this Monash's first ceremony in 1964, but to an academic tradition that arguably begins with the University of Bologna in 1088. Today, the university certifies that you've acquired the analytical abilities, the deep knowledge of your fields, and the capabilities that a Monash degree implies. These are very valuable things to have acquired, but we like to think that you've taken away rather more than this from your time here at Monash. We hope that you've forged values that reflect the ones that the university holds dear. We hope that we've nurtured in you the love of discovery that's expressed in the university's motto, Ancora Imparo. Those words, attributed variously to many, but including Michelangelo, translate as, I am still learning, or perhaps I am still discovering. It's unlikely that you got here in the first place without a healthy intellectual curiosity, but I hope that your time here will have strengthened that determination to understand more of yourselves and your world. More importantly, it should have helped you to recognise that the hunger for knowledge can be indeed a very powerful force for good. It's a desire for discovery that, of course, drives the university, and we see it not just in the knowledge it imparts, but in the research it conducts and how that makes changes to our lives, from the groundbreaking work that was begun by Monash so many decades ago in IVF that has helped thousands of people to have children, to today, for example, the bionic eye that is now on the cusp of human trials. But we also hope that your time here has shaped the nature and raised the level of your ambition in a way that reflects the level of the ambition of the university itself. Monash is now recognised as one of the world's top 100 universities, and it's a position it's reached in less than 60 years. That is a measure of reputation, but it is not in that reputation that our ambition resides. A strong reputation is only ever the byproduct of ambition. And what's important is the scale, the nature, indeed the usefulness, we might say, of the challenges that we set ourselves. For Monash, that's included many things. Designing systems and regulations that apply in developed and what are called advanced economies, revolutionising water management in cities across the globe, developing new ways of administering oxytocin to save the lives of tens of thousands of mothers in the developing world. For the Faculty of Arts, those challenges include deepening our knowledge of ourselves and our societies, contributing to policy formation in areas as diverse as peace and security, culture and heritage, livable and sustainable environments, and social inclusion. Our alumni have taken their ambitions to many places, for some the attainment of high public office, the establishment of organisations that make a difference and create jobs, indeed to the particular example of opening a school inside a prison to give young offenders a second chance. For you, who knows what form your ambition will take? But implicit in all of these varied ambitions is the idea of service, the notion that the most noble end to which we can devote our talents and efforts is the greater good. As our namesake, the great Australian Sir John Monash once wrote, "Equip yourself for life, not solely for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the whole community." That doesn't mean that we expect every Monash graduate to discover a life-saving vaccine, end global poverty or global warming, though they're not bad ambitions to have. But we ask that you should always have an awareness that the decisions you make and the actions you take in your professional and personal lives have implications for all of us. From the advantages you gain from this education, there is always an opportunity to give something to others. We also hope that you've taken away from your time at Monash an openness to new ideas, perspectives and cultures. Your education would not have succeeded were your opinions and preconceptions not challenged. The diversity of experience of your fellow students and the staff with whom you've interacted should have sketched new horizons and new ways of understanding. We think this openness is reflected in Monash's internationalism. Not just the diversity of our students, but the engagement through our campuses in Malaysia, India and China, our alliances with universities, such as the one with Warwick University in the UK, the centres we have, such as the one in Prato in Italy. That set of possibilities is an openness to the world that has made Monash one of the world's most internationalised universities. And whether your career keeps you in Australia, takes you to Asia, Europe or the Americas, or indeed across all those places, we know that when you step outside this time here, it's very likely that in the people you meet, you'll meet another Monash graduate. There are some 350,000 of them out there for you to meet. But more than those whom you'll meet, We believe you're educated in a university that's prepared you to work successfully in a global context, and that is indeed our future. And let me turn to the final value I want to invoke today, which is respect. You've been given the privilege of a wonderful education. You are all very able, blessed with the capacity to tackle academic tasks successfully. They're powerful advantages. Use them wisely. Be ethical. Be honest. Aspire always to fairness and be generous. Be generous with your time, in your assessment of others and the credit you give them. If you can do all these things, then you will prove yourself worthy of the investment that your families, the university and indeed the community have made in you. They're all very serious values and important, but there's one other thing that you should keep in mind tonight, and that is that it is your graduation day, and so you should also celebrate. So let me again, on behalf of the university, offer my congratulations. Thank you. I now call upon Professor Ray Francis, Dean of the Faculty of Arts.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, I certify to you and to the Council of Monash University that all candidates now to be presented and those others listed in your copy of the graduation program have fulfilled the conditions prescribed by the Council of Monash University for admission to the degrees and for the award of the diplomas indicated in the program. Would all candidates for degrees and diplomas of the Faculty of Arts please stand?
Graduands, with the authority of Council, I admit you to the degrees and award the diplomas to which you are entitled. I also admit to the degrees and award the diplomas to which they are entitled those others who are absent today, but are listed on my copy of the graduation program. Graduates, as you now are, this moment marks an important milestone in your lives. The ceremony is a visible culmination of your very hard work and commitment. Your achievements are outstanding, and you should always look back at this moment with a great deal of pride. I personally congratulate you all, and now I ask the members of the audience to applaud your accomplishments.
Please be seated. Madam Deputy Chancellor, graduates from the Faculty of Arts will be presented to you by Dr. Felix Nobis, Deputy Head of the Centre for Theatre and Performance of the Faculty of Arts.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, I present to you graduates from the Faculty of Arts who have been admitted to the following degrees and awarded the following diplomas today. Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Economics. Jennifer Lam. Tai Kim V. Nguyen. Conan Fong. Justin Peter van den Driesen. Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Music. Daniel Lee Cooper. Elizabeth Katina Eliopoulos. Matthew James Hurst. Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Visual Arts, Ruby Isabella Boville. Jamie Dawson. Amy Hannah Freund. Monique Juliet Horsley. Catherine Anna Haviland Pappas. L. Kate Stevenson. Georgia Kelly Truesdale. Natasha Irene Williams. Bachelor of Arts. Samaya Amiruddin. Sandra Minerva Anderson. Eleanor Angeloska. Sarah Ann Angus. Felicia Ahontisas. Jennifer Ann Amor. Charlotte Emily Ashton. Rowan Uda. Jackson Auditori. Manisha Balgovind. Genevieve Louisa Barlow. Paul Brian Bartlett. Emily Baxter. Mariam Bezaya Dian. Aliyah Jamila Ben Hassin. Alicia Jade Bond. Adrian Peter Bowler. L. Bradshaw. Nicholas David Brewer. Camilla Alexandra Brown. Stephanie Jane Buckland. Amira Marini Banawa. Nikki Louise Bundock. Ching Nin Chan. Kitty Sophia Chandler. Danielle Chow. Andrew Chen. Dantong Chen. Huiyin Chen. Yana Cheriapina. Cheng Xin Ling. Annabelle Matheson Jakovich. Emma Clampett. Emma Elizabeth Clark. Michelle Ann Cloney. Sophie Christina Cox. Caitlin Coffey Wong. Darcy Milner Collins. Brittany May Collins. Simone Erin Collins. Alastair Thomas Coltard. Matthew Robert Cox. Rachel Annie Cox. Louise Olivia Coyle. Celeste Jane Kermey. Nicholas Sterling Carell. Callum John Dale. Melissa Dang. Beatrice Marie Dogiat. Michaela Kathleen Deverne. Sky Davey. Claire Michelle de Freitas. Joshua John de Groot. Sarah Louise de Jong. Tamara de Lutis. Yan Yu Deng. Stephanie Diaz. Danielle Monique De Carlo. Stephanie Lauren Dixon. Doan Duong Tu Huang. Jennifer K. Drowley. Cassandra Lee Elwood. Chloe Ann Elmer. Laura Lee Kathleen Evans. Robert Forlin. Claudine Fessy. Alice Claire Fitzgerald. Serena Felicity Flanagan. Camilla Nina Fluck. Sarah Victoria Flaratos. Claudine Aurelia Foley. Pui K. Fong. Philippa Marie Foote. Jack Anthony Forbes. James Daniel Foster. Celine Kamona Foster Zuluaga. Amy Elizabeth Fox. Albert John Francis. Felicity Alexandra Fraser. Jacinta Angela Frizziero. Lauren Bridget Fusco. James Michael Gallus. Alexander Brian Gamboa. Madison Kathleen Gardner. Georgia Lee Gaylard. Sally Rose Guerin. Jessica Ann Golder. Martin Nicholas Good. Victoria Eve Gorgulis. Cassandra Grapsis. Jeddah Drew Grunendahl. Sarah Gritzentik. Fee Ha. Amanda Hudge. Emma Louise Hall. Keely Joy Hamilton. Melanie Isabel Hamilton. Evelyn Ruth Harris. Ella Grace Harvey. Katie Elizabeth Helm. Ali Jane Rose Haywood. Joshua Wesley Higo. Paige Elise Hill. Yiling Ho. Leah Ann Holt. Chris Davis Holton. Excuse me. Alexandra Jane Horn. Brooke Alexandra Howard. Yu Siu Hu. Morgan Alicia Chalmers Hughes. Megan Holston. Vincent Horn Wing Huin. Jocelyn Jackson. Matthew David Jackson. Gigi Sarah Jackoel Kaminsky. Laura Alexandra Janes. Jayamini Samantha Jayawadeen. Dahi Young. Verity Eileen Kalika. Samuel William Keenan. Nicholas Kenneth Keller. Georgia Kelly. Keng Yang Xuan. Scarlett Marie Kennedy. Tasman Kip. Michelle Kitely. Nicole Page Classman. Jeremy Kong. Kirsten May Crumples. Lynette Kumar. Genevieve Elizabeth Kite. Jessica Labaris. Elaine Nicole Lalkand. Salome Onyu Lam. Tess Louise Lawrence. Chris Sin Yu Lee. Dasha Lapustin. Ko Q Ella Leung. Christogale Ern Hui Lim. Shuang Liu. Laura Marie Lizacek. Kathleen Joy Lowe. Lydia. Ma Hui Fong. Anna Eleonora McNeil. Courtney Taylor Mand. Elizabeth Faye Manja. Sean Martin Jankowski. Sienna Lucy Matatek. James Frederick McBride. Bonnie Flint Forrester McCowan. Caitlin Veronica McDonald. Andrew John McMartin. Phoebe Catherine McNally. Isabella McNeil. Jasmine Louise McNeil. Michelle Jane McVicker. Megan McWaters. Daisy Hinchliffe-Medic. Rachel Ann Melville. Kasuna Nwintika Mendis. Matthew James Manilli. Thomas William Middleditch. Alexandra Elise Milne. Nellie Ann Moon. Sophie Maria Alexia F. Morgan. Catherine Margaret Murray. Isabella Muto. Cheyenne Indiana Nomofsky. Jessica Neely. Georgia Valerie Newland. Samantha Lee Newsom. Helen Biu Tam Nguyen. Alex Dimitri Nitsikopoulos. Elena Opea. Shannon Jeffrey Orlandi. Alexandra Oswald. Tristan Terence Overlunde. Sarah Payne. Sarah Louise Pankridge. Jessica Panam. Emma Connie Paolocci. Lee George Patoris. Josh Pavlou. Hannah Rachel Pear. Mashi Rashmira Paris. Eloise Pelser. Melissa Beryl Pepin. Netmi Pereira. Tomasi Pereira. Emily Jane Perkins. Chloe Louise Perry. Kelly Deidre Pygram. Megan Ploim. Helena Porecki. Hannah Jane Pratt. Jonah Llewellyn Pratt. Dara May Presnell. Emma Princey. Georgia Elizabeth Prosser. Melissa Antoinette Puxty. Blair Lee Rutches. Meg Alicia Rahili. Mohammed Ashikwe Rahman. Shabnam Rasif. Emily Jane Rees. Jared Anthony Respondino. Melody May Reed. Kristen Violet Robertson. Jennifer Roach. Sean Andrew Rogan. Jasmine Victoria Roussos. Xin Yu Ruan. Madeline Jane Russell. Natalie Elizabeth Sully. Juliet Lewis Summon. Hatisenua Sanley. Robert Alexander Sarantulius. Asima Sawari. Charles Anthony Horton Schaefer. Jacqueline Christine Scodolaro. Mariam Septi. Rosanna Christina Sailhorst. Evrim Shen. Ruby Maya Sheen Weratney. Jacqueline Marie Sexton. Latika Shakur. Rachel Short. Alison Elizabeth Shuttleworth. Eloise Mena Smart. Mia Smowden. James Michael Smooker. Charlotte Jean Snowball. Chia Soon. Marie Antoinette Spina. Hugh Steele. Emily Jane Sterling. Travis Mark Stevens. Ella Rose Stockley. Madison Claire Strumer. Olivia Richard George Tsimansky. Runmai Tang. James John Taylor. Samuel McNair Templeton. Phaedra Tain. Cheryl Tang. Zachary Paul Thomas. Sarah Christina Thompson. Cassandra Lee Tonkin. Dominic Tran. Emily Chow Tran. Emily Nicole Tricarico. Lucas Ryan Trofimiuk. Eliana Aurelie Tsikautanis. Cassandra Tu. Tanya Van Pruyen. Hannah Grace Vinnie. Natalie Vivas. Demi Vore. Dasha Vorobieva. Taylor Wayne. Sarah Wallace. Lucinda Tiffany Walravens. Brodie Jean Walsh. Lachlan Warwick Walsh Buckley. Natasha Jane Ward. Charlotte Ann Wardell. Andrew Ware. James Maxwell Walk. Riley Cale Watkin. Natasha Hannah Watson. Gillian Rose Watt. Danielle Celine Watts. Erin Catherine Wetherill. Isabel Alice Webster. Stephanie Carolyn Kane Weeks. Emma Wong. Georgia Ray Warswick. Chang Shu. Shannon Michelle Zaydenberg. Anna Zhang. Xiaoqing Cho. Doctor of Philosophy. For research titled From Arable Savannah Land to Barren Desert, the Political Ecology of Land Cover and Land Use Change in Northeast Ghana, Dr. Pito Kojo Boteng. For research titled Women's Empowerment in Poor Community in Jakarta, Dr. Suri Wiyanta Ediono. For research titled Early Dominican Exemplar Collections Defining a Method of Ethical Pedagogy, Dr. Anne Michelle Holloway. For research titled Post-Release Alcohol Use in Victoria, Dr. Christina Kirtley. For research titled Voices of Acceptance, Understanding the Acceptance of Boat People by Young Australians, Dr. Jacqueline Margaret Lachlan Boyd. For research titled Dress and Identity in Kellis, a Roman period village in Egypt, Dr. Roseanne Joy Livingston. For research titled The Social Externalities of Australian Bus and Coach Operators, How Governance Affects Community Prosperity, Dr. Christopher James Lowe. For research titled After the Apology, Responsive Narratives and the 2008 Apology to Australia's Stolen Generations, Dr. Catherine Jane Marr. For research titled Into the Fold, A Contemporary History of LGBT Police Relations in Victoria, Dr. Emma Kate Russell. For research titled Non-Consensual Sexting, An Examination of Law and Prosecutions, Dr. Laura Elizabeth Vitis. Madam Deputy Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Arts.
Thank you, and congratulations to all those who've graduated. We now have a lovely opportunity to hear from one of our very talented musicians from the Sir Zelman Cowen School of Music. Please welcome Ms. Serena Chung to the ceremony, who will be performing Symphonie d'Amérique, composed by Henry Bontemps. What a wonderful performance. She's gone and I can't tell her, but there it is. I now invite the President and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Margaret Gardner, to present a candidate for the degree of Laws Honoris Causa.
Madam Deputy Chancellor, Mrs. Jean Pratt is a distinguished Australian who's made her mark in business, philanthropy, the arts and public service. Mrs. Pratt has devoted much of her life to active community service through her support of an extensive variety of philanthropic and arts activities. Born in Poland, she migrated to Australia in 1939 with her Jewish refugee parents as World War II threatened in Europe. Educated at Sydney Girls High and the University of Sydney, she worked as a journalist in newspapers and television. After her marriage to Dr. Richard Pratt, she became a director of Visy Industries, which has since become the world's largest privately owned packaging, paper and recycling company. During the 1980s, the Pratts acquired the National Trust classified property Raheen in the Melbourne suburb of Kew. Mrs. Pratt undertook a significant restoration of the property to make it one of Melbourne's most recognisable and significant historic mansions. By regularly opening their home for functions, the Pratts have helped raise many millions of dollars for various charities and causes. In 1998, Mrs. Pratt established the Production Company, a not-for-profit theatrical company which performs Broadway musicals to very large audiences, thus providing employment and stimulating the music theatre industry. As chair of the board, Mrs. Pratt is hands-on in all facets of the company. Among her many other roles, Mrs. Pratt is Life Governor of the Australian International Opera Awards, patron of the Melbourne Theatre Company, a former chairman of Opera Foundation Victoria, and a director on the board of the Melbourne Theatre Company. Mrs. Pratt was made an Officer of the Order of Australia in 1989 and then was made Companion of the Order of Australia in 2002 for outstanding leadership in the arts, for development of opportunities for young artistic talent on stage and in the orchestral field, and for service to the community through charitable and non-profit organisations. Madam Deputy Chancellor, it gives me the greatest pleasure to present to you for admission to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, Jean Pratt.
With the authority of Council, I admit you, Jean Pratt, to the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. I now have much pleasure in inviting Dr. Jean Pratt to deliver the graduation address.
Thank you, Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, and especially to the new graduates and your families and friends. Here are some lyrics I've chosen for you. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. I hope you like that. It's from the musical Oklahoma. There's more to come, but fear not, I'm not going to sing any of it. Friends, this is a wonderful honour, and I'm very grateful to the university It's all the more special when I think of the many great Australians and international personalities who have stood here before me. But the honour also has a very personal meaning and significance. In 1990, here in Robert Blackwood Hall, Monash University awarded my late husband, Richard Pratt, an honorary doctorate in engineering. It was his first of 5 such awards, and he was very proud of it. In 2006, my daughter Fiona, who's here today, came up here to receive her Bachelor of Laws degree, which means that unlike me, she can say she's a real lawyer. And in 2013, my son Anthony, a Monash graduate in economics class of 1982, and now the executive chairman of our company, Visi, stood here to receive his honorary doctorate of laws. So Monash University is very much part of our family history, and as you've heard from the Chancellor, the Deputy Chancellor, the Pratt Family Foundation is very much part of Monash. I can only say it's been a privilege to be involved philanthropically with the life of the university, and it's been fun. Yes, I said fun, ladies and gentlemen. In the speeches of those of us who have received honorary doctorates, I suspect you'll really hear the word fun, and you'll usually hear them say how humble they are to be so honoured. Well, sorry, I'm having fun. And I'm not humble at all. For one thing, I'm reminded of what Israel's Prime Minister Golda Meir once told General Moshe Dayan. Moshe, she said, don't be so humble, you're not that great. But even if I thought I was great, I don't feel very humble. Let me explain. It's because just 20 years ago, almost to the day, something happened that changed my mind about honorary doctorates. On May the 19th, 1996, Southampton College in New York awarded an honorary doctorate to Kermit the Frog. That's right. A Muppet from Sesame Street received an honorary doctorate of amphibious letters for his contribution to environmental awareness and education. So, with all due respect to Kermit, ever since the university honoured a green frog, that's the end of humility for me. Or maybe, on second thoughts, we all have something to learn from Kermit's honorary doctorate. In conferring the degree, the Chancellor of Southampton College, Robert Silliman, posed the question, what is finer about being human than the capacity for imagination? And he added, stay close to your dreams, to the stars, to the magic. So I'd like to share with you my own journey of the imagination over my lifetime and my own encounter with magic. The story begins during my childhood in Sydney. I was the daughter of Jewish refugees who came to Australia just as World War II broke out in Europe. As a teenager, there were 2 records in our house to which I listened over and over again. One was a collection of Frank Sinatra's hits, and the other was the musical Showboat by Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein. I quite liked Frank Sinatra, but I loved Showboat. Even today, I remember the words of every song, and I remember the story. Magnolia Hawks, a young woman whose father owns a 19th century Mississippi riverboat, falls for the handsome gambler, Gaylord Ravenel. Their path of romance is not an easy one, and after much sadness, there's a happy ending. And no matter how many times I've seen Showboat on stage or watched the movie versions, every time I hear songs such as Old Man River or Can't Help Lovin' That Man of Mine or Make Believe, it's as if it were for the first time. For me, listening to that record of Showboat all those years ago was the beginning of my love affair with musicals, but it was also the beginning of the journey of the imagination I spoke about earlier. So what was it about musicals that drew me then and now? The simple explanation is that musical theatre is the most popular form of theatre in the world. It involves audiences emotionally with its combination of song, dance and drama, and I think it does it better than any other form of entertainment. Think of the producers: Fiddler on the Roof, South Pacific, Oklahoma, Annie, My Fair Lady and The Lion King. Think of the great music and the great stories, or consider Hamilton, the hottest musical on Broadway today. You can't get a ticket until next year. It's a hip-hop masterpiece about a subject you'd never think would make a musical. It tells the story of Alexander Hamilton, one of the United States founding fathers, and includes George Washington and King George III. Those of you who've studied American history may wonder why your lectures were never quite as exciting. And here in Melbourne, we're soon to see Kinky Boots with Cyndi Lauper, and next year it'll be the Book of Mormon. And I'm not just referring to Broadway musicals. Think of the European productions such as Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera or Cats. So when you consider the hundreds of millions who've seen these productions or heard the music, I'm certainly not alone as a musical theatre fan. But for me, there's something more personal and my own. Musicals have given me joy. They've sustained that lifelong journey of the imagination, and they've prolonged my sense of childhood fun and optimism about the world despite everything, which is why I'm so deeply grateful that I came to musicals early. I know that for many people, that sense of joy and imagination comes from the books that they read, or from the movies they see, or the poetry they write, or even from the sports that they've played or followed. I hope there are Carlton supporters here. I hope it's happened to those of you who've studied at this university and are graduating today, and I hope the joy and imagination are your constant companions in the years ahead. For me, it began with that recording of Showboat, and as I was fortunate enough to be able to travel to New York, and Broadway became my favourite destination, so the musical theatre there became my home away from home. I won't say I've seen every Broadway musical for the last 50 years, but close. I was fortunate in another way, because I knew that I wasn't alone in my love of musicals. I've been able to share it, which is why some 18 years ago, as you've heard, I had the privilege of starting the production company here in Melbourne. During that time, we've presented over 50 musicals, sold hundreds of thousands of tickets, and launched the careers of many great Australian performers. And an Australian musical, The Boy from Oz, was our most popular production. By the way, if you want to know about this year's season, one of our best, you can book online. Don't worry, I'm not going to miss out on an opportunity on selling tickets to a captive audience. Now, I know the last thing you want to hear from me on Today of All Days is a history lecture, either personal or about musical theatre, but I think it's worth noting that Showboat, first presented back in 1927, nearly 90 years ago, was probably the most influential musical of the 20th century. It changed the way musicals were written and presented, but I've never believed that we have to leave history to others. I think it's fun to make our own. And when I receive a gift, as I have today from this university, I'd like to say thank you. So let me conclude my remarks by telling you about a new partnership I'm looking forward to creating with Monash University. I'm passionate about the future of an Australian musical theatre, so I approached Monash with an idea about how we can help to make it happen. Working with the Pratt Foundation and the production company, I'm very pleased to say that Monash responded with vision. Together, the Monash Academy of Performing Arts, the Monash Centre for Theatre and Performance, and Sir Zelman Cowen School of Music will aim to make history here in Melbourne, not just on Broadway. Together, we hope that Monash will build a generation of graduates who'll be the creative artists who'll write, compose, direct, choreograph, design, and produce our own original Australian musicals. And you'll be able to see those musicals first in the refurbished Alexander Theatre. Now that's something to sing and dance about. It's a way to say thank you to Monash for this great honour. It's a joy for me to contribute some support to make this particular dream a reality. For all of you, the new graduates, I'd like to end as I began and to wish you the very best. In the words of the song from Oklahoma, friends, I hope everything will always go your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. What a wonderful graduation address. And thank you for making many of us think back in our lives and our history and to appreciate the wise words you shared with us. Jean also has a wonderful commitment to this university, to its students, as you've heard as well. Dr. Pratt's generous patronage of the arts in Australia, and in particular the performing arts here at Monash, represents a profound commitment to the developing the next generation of music theatre practitioners. It is my understanding from the President and Vice-Chancellor that the university will name the new program in Dr. Pratt's honour. I look forward to the program becoming a cornerstone of the student experience at Monash and an important influence on the future of musical theatre in Australia. Dr. Pratt, on behalf of Monash University community, thank you for your wonderful commitment to this university and your wonderful address this afternoon. We come to the conclusion of this occasion. Graduates, as you leave this ceremony, remember that you are not leaving the university, no matter how far you may move away from this place and this time. As an alumni of the university, you are joined to the university and to each other by a link that cannot be broken. And we hope very much that will be strongly maintained. I urge you to keep in contact with the university through the alumni group. The alumni page in your copy of the graduation program is a guide to what we have to share with you wherever you may be. In congratulating you upon your achievement, I particularly want to acknowledge the contribution that your lecturers, supervisors, tutors and the professional staff of the university have made in ensuring your presence at this ceremony. It is not always possible to give public recognition to their hard work and their dedication, but I ask you that you now take this opportunity to show them your appreciation by a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. I know that university study is not easy. During your many years of research and learning, you've had to cope with the stresses of examinations and assignments and combine study with outside work or family obligations. Throughout this time, you were encouraged and supported by parents and husbands and wives, partners, brothers, sisters, guardians and friends. To acknowledge their contribution, I now invite the graduates to stand and turn and express your gratitude to those who are here today with a round of applause. Thank you. Please be seated. I cordially invite everyone to continue this celebration by coming to the Campus Centre Dining Hall for refreshments. Graduates, I invite you to join the procession as the official party leaves the hall, and I ask members of the audience to remain standing at their seats until all the graduates have left the hall. This ceremony is now at an end. Thank you very much.